Good day everyone, my name is Veryl Igong-Igong and I am one of the reporters for this lesson. Today we will be talking about artworks. But before we proceed to our discussion, let's just first read our objectives. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to first analyze artworks as sources of historical data. Number 2, examine the perspective of these artworks. Number 3, create your own artwork that will describe the country's current socio-economic or social-political conditions. What is artworks?
Drawings and photographs prepared for publication in a book or advertisement are example of artwork. High-quality artworks include paintings and sculptures.
Illustrations, photographs, drawings play a large part in the study of history. These sources have story to tell and enable us to distinguish details that give us insights into something beyond the text. Also, record of the past, useful for historians. Photograph and illustration reflect social condition of historical realities and everyday life and indicate the situation of past societies. Editorial cartoons, on the other hand, are the sources of political expression or propaganda in the historical era in which they came out. One of the examples of artworks is the editorial cartoons. So as you can see in the screen, is the satirical cartoon on July 27, 1907 issue of the Lipang Kalabaw or Lipag Kalabaw, a weekly satirical magazine published in Manila, shows Philippine Assembly candidate Dominador Gomez as the Roman centurion Longinus delivering the final spear blow to the crucified freedom fighters from left. Macario Sakay, Francisco Carrion, Julian Montalan, and Lucio de Vega, who were all sentenced to death for banditry by the American government. Gomez was instrumental in the surrender of Sakay and his men, but the latter were subsequently arrested in spite of assurances of safe conduct by the government.
Gomez was later blamed for the death of Sakay, and many believe that he betrayed Filipinos rebels to the Americans. Next figure we have popular manifestation in honor of the triumphant candidate of the Southern District of Manila, Fernando Ma Guerrero, 11th of August 1907. Cartoon from the magazine Lipang Kalabaw depicts festivity or parade of the Filipinos celebrating the elections of their popular candidate Fernando Ma Guerrero, who ran for the Philippine Assembly held that month. The momentous occasion, however, had dire results. Americans who witnessed the event were bothered by the massive show of support by Filipino patriots and the singular display of the American flag amidst banner and Philippine flags. Irked by the patriotic display, the Philippine Commission passed on August 23, 1907, Act Number 1696, otherwise known as the Flag Law, which banned the public display of the Philippine flag and the patriotic banners. When the Philippine Assembly opened at the Manila Grand Opera House in September, only the American flag could be seen, an ironic display for an otherwise Philippine legislative body. Next, we have the other illustrations or cartoons. The following illustrations or cartoons appear in the booklet Watch for the Saboteurs, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of the Philippines, published in 1951. Then President Elpidio Quirino wrote to the League saying that the booklet graphically shows the defect both the individual and the society. His letter, which appear in the booklet, is produced below. This is the cover page of the booklet, which is the Watch for the Saboteurs, and this is the first page inside the booklet. In the second page of inside the booklet, it says that they never learned, that's why they don't grow up. In the third page inside the booklet says that someone in the highest didn't clean up about the issues and the problems of the country, and they all cover up. The fourth page inside the booklet says that they abuse people and they neglect the elected man. In the fifth page of inside the booklet says that to lose the battle panic. Free information, but they are afraid to read it. Free speech, but they afraid to speak. Freedom of worship, but afraid to feel it. Free press, but afraid to print it. This image is España Guía, Filipinas per el Camino del Progreso by Juan Luna, 1885, now at the Museo Nacional del Prado in Madrid, Spain. Illustration of Native Filipinos, Naturals, Tagalos, Boxer Codex, CA 1590. This is an illustration of tattooed pre-colonial Visayans, or what the Spaniards called pintados, or Visayan pentados. Boxer Codex CA 1590.
This is the illustration of Aita, or Negrillo warriors, also known as the Negrillos, by Boxer Codex at 1590. The next are the 10 most famous paintings in the Philippines and the artist. The first one is the making of the Philippine flag by Fernando Amorsolo. There are 3 women, which are Marcela Agoncillo, her daughter Lorenza, and Daniela Hebrosa de Natividad, Dr. Jose Rizal's niece. The next one is the Spolarium by Juan Luna. Spolarium is a gigantic painting more than 4 meters high and 7.5 meters wide, making it the largest painting in the Philippines. It is among the most Philippine historical paintings. The next painting is called Gathering of Heroes by Juanito Torres. The famous art in the Philippines depicts key figures in Philippine history, including those part of the 19th century Philippine movement in what is said to be the composition reminiscent of Marvel's X-Men cover. The next painting is called The Filipino Struggles Through History by Carlos Botong Francisco. It was finished in 1968, only months before his death on March 31, 1969. In 1996, this Filipino painting was declared as a national cultural treasure, which means that it is a unique cultural property found locally, possessing outstanding historical, cultural, artistic, and scientific value, which is highly significant and important to the country and to the nation. The fifth painting is called Granadian Arabesque by Jesse Joya. It is a horizontal Philippine abstract art that showcases different shades of yellow, broad strokes, and an impasto mixed with sand. With a size of 305 centimeters by 118 centimeters, showcased to represent the Philippines in the prestigious Viennese Biennale in 1964. The next painting is called Alcaf Bridge by Pasita Abad. Alcaf Bridge in Singapore is one of the most popular work of art created by a notable Filipino painter. Pasita Abad is a Filipino artist born in Batanes. Her work, Alcaf Bridge, is a 55-meter bridge covered in over 2,000 colorful circles, making it among the most visited attractions in Singapore. The Alcaf Bridge was completed a few months before Pasita passed away from cancer in 2004. Next is The Fisherman by Ang Kio Cook. This Filipino famous painting depicts the hope and struggle of fishermen. The fisherman shows a group working together as they haul a net, telling us their struggle, while the crimson sun above is an empathic symbol of constancy and perpetual energy. The next painting is called Sabel by Benedict Cabrera. According to him, Sabel was the woman he saw scavenging around his Bangbang neighborhood in 1964. He took a picture of her and sketched it. To him, Sabel is a representation of not just homeless women, but every Filipina as well. The next painting is called Three Women in a Landscape by Anita Magsaysayho. She likes to celebrate the Filipino women in her works. She is the first cousin of former President Ramon Magsaysay, a student of the well-known painter in the Philippines, which is Fernando Amorosolo, and one of the pioneer Filipino modern artists. Three Women in a Landscape portraying women with high cheekbones, slanted eyes, and beautiful morena skin surrounded by nature, harvesting crops, selling fish, or gathering grapes. The last one is called Noche Clara by Fernando Zobel de Ayala. If the name Fernando M. Zobel de Ayala rings a bell, that's because he is part of the prominent and wealthy Ayala family. But more than being an Ayala, he is known for his talent for painting in the Philippines. He has developed his distinct style that people came to know, known even with a glance, and is now considered among the most expensive artists in the country. Because of his painting, his popular Filipino painting are usually composed of blacks, whites, and blues. And now let us proceed to the 10 important Filipino artworks you can only see at the National Museum. The first one is the portrait of Lorena Novicio E. Archeta with the dedication to my mother that was created on 1897 by Juan Luna. The next painting is called El Gobernador y El Obispo Don Luis Perez Dasmariñas and Fred Domingo de Salazar that was created on 1896 by Felix Resurrección Hidalgo. Next one is La Venganza de la Madre or The Mother's Revenge that was created on 1894 by Jose Rizal. The next one is called Luwalhati. The date was not stated, but it was created by Guillermo Tolentino.
Good day everyone, I am Aldee Jamora, and this time I am going to continue the topic about the 10 important Filipino artworks you can only see at the National Museum. So this time let's proceed to the fifth one, which is the portrait of Serapia N. Santos y Adona in 1932 by Ramon Peralta y Resurrección. This artwork completed 3 years after Serapia's death, using photo oleo or oil painting. In the early 20th century, because of the absence of color photography, it was colorized through hand pen. Next is the Festa 1 and 2 in 2008 by MP Calapel. It was created through mixed media, meaning combination of materials used to create this light sculpture. The hammered metals in the sculpture represent the embossed metal pieces seen on the kalesa, while the hanging glass were inspired from the colorful wrappers of pastillas or milk candies from Bulacan and other Central Luzon provinces. And she also had mirrors and shaped glass depicting waves and bubbles representing the ocean, which describe the Philippines as an archipelago. These are the only sculptural work of Pilapil in the museum collection. Next is The Mother and Child in 1950 by Napoleon Veloso Abueva. It is made of one piece abode or volcanic top made by Napoleon Abueva, known as the father of modern Philippine sculpture. It is rendered in cubist form, with it shows a female figure in sitting position, admiring her infant while he clings on her head. Next is The Hells of Nico in 1964 by Jose P. Joya. This painting is made using oil in canvas, in which it is Joya's interpretation of his creative experience during his visit in Nikko, Japan. It depicts the hills during summertime when the snow from the winter has melted away and exposed his imperfection, and also it represents human imperfection, considered as the finest of the 9 paintings that he exhibited at the Venice Biennale of 1964. It was the first Philippine participation in the influential art event. Next is The Arrival and Departure in 1980 by Arturo Luz. It was created through mixed media, acrylic on burlap. Burlap means it is a thick piece of cloth from jute or hemp. Arturo Luz described this artwork as the best and largest artwork he created in this medium and style. Next is The Sapuela Saputi in 1949 by Nina Sagil. This shows 2 chicken, red and white cockfight. She uses oil ink canvas. Nina Sagil is one of the country's pioneering female abstract artists. This time, let's proceed to the next topic about most famous Filipino artists and their masterworks. First is Fernando Amorsolo in 1892 to 1972. He often known as the Grand Old Man in Philippine art. He is portrayer and painter of rural Philippine landscapes. He is best known for his illuminated landscapes, which often portray traditional Filipino customs, culture, occupation, and fiestas. Then, in the right side, it was his artworks, which is The Fruit Gatherer in 1950, in which it embodied the simplicity of Filipino lives and beauty. Let's proceed to Kidlat Tahimik from 1942 to up to present. He is known as the father of Philippine independent film. The government recently conferred upon him the Order of National Artist for Film in October 2018. Born Eric Digea, aka Kidlat Tahimik, means silent lightning in Tagalog. His films have been prominent at film festivals across America, Europe, and Asia. He is highly respected among director Werner Herzog and Francis Ford Coppola, who are both instrumental in helping him present his most famous semi-autobiographical work, Perfume Nightmare, in 1977. Perfume Nightmare advocates for the enlightenment of people about the excessive fascination with all things foreign and modern. Next is Eduardo Masferrer. From 1909 to 1995, he is born to a Filipino mother and Spanish soldier. He is regarded as the father of Philippine photography. He documented with a great detail the everyday lives of indigenous people of Cordilleras. His photographs capture the culture of the people in his community and serve as a documentation of these customary practices and rituals. He is remembered for his book on the people of the Philippine Cordillera photographs in 1934 to 1956, which was published in 1988. This is the example of his artwork or photographs, People of the Philippine Cordillera photographs, from 1934 to 1956, which was published in 1988. So, let's proceed to Agnes Arellano, from 1949 to up to present. She was born to a family of prominent male architects and sculptors, best known for his surrealist and expressionist work in plaster, bronze, and cold cast marble. His sculpture highlight the female body and draw from themes surrounding sexuality, religion, and mysticism. Drawing from the tragic death of her parents and sister from a house fire in 1981, her work explores themes of creation, and destruction and the cycles of life from birth to death. This is the examples of Agnes Arellano artworks, which is the Carcass Cornupia. In 1987, it shows how death and destruction life can come forth. It depicts the rather morbid scene of a hooved female carcass hung up and split open, while from her turned body emerges an infant. Next is Roberto Rodriguez from 1937 to 2013. He used his mother's maiden name, Chabet, when he began his career in art. He was a mentor to many students of the University of the Philippines, where he taught for over 30 years and is acknowledged as the father of conceptual art in the Philippines. Chabet initially studied architecture, but his conceptual art installation, collage, and sculpture in the 1960s and 70s made him a rebellious figure on the local art scene. He was the founding museum director of the Cultural Center of the Philippines from 1967 to 1970, where he established the 13 Artist Award that highlight the achievements of young artists whose work shows a contemporary view of art making and thinking. He described himself as a custodian and his work as creatures of memory. This is a sample of Roberto Chabet's artworks, which is one thing after another, at the Mission House, Manila, Binel, 2018. It is a method for making the collage, literally attaching each sheet of paper side by side with stripes of masking tape. Next is Napoleon Abueva from 1930 to 2018. He is the father of modern Filipino sculpture. He was born in Bohol. He was the youngest national artist awardee appointed by then President Marcos at the age of 46. His expertise was seen in a wide array of materials such as wood, abode, steel, cement, marble, and bronze. This is example of Napoleon Abueva artworks, which is the cross at Mount Samat, Bataan, completed in 1970. The white memorial cross stands as a remembrance to the soldiers who fought and lost their lives during the Battle of Bataan. This is our own example of artwork that describes the country's current socio-economic and socio-political condition. The idea of these sample artworks is we are still wearing face masks, face shield, and it's encouraged to be vaccinated. Fully vaccinated is one of the most required in order to buy inside big establishment to ride a bus. However, to those who are not vaccinated are limited to go outside. And then the price of food products are still increasing. That would be all. Thank you and God bless. I hope that you learn a lot from this lesson.